Hey, Book Besties. Today we are back after our long overdue break. Um, I did want to start out by talking about that and explain where we've been. It is super scandalous. I decided to have two surgeries, and one of them involved my sinuses. I could not
BBL.
speak. Dude, I wish. I decided to get my sinuses done, so I literally could not talk. Like I tried calling Jazzy, and I was like, she was like, "We can't talk like this." And now poor Jazzy is sick, so
I am.
I feel like I got my ass kicked.
Yeah,
So,
I
anyways,
agree.
today I'm excited that we're back today because we are talking about Mate by Ali Hazelwood. And excuse my background clipping, I'm in the process of moving as well. Woo! Okay, so if you're new here and you're not used to our videos, we always start out by doing a general overview of the book with no spoilers. And then when we get into spoiler territory, we are going to give you a warning so you can choose to leave if you'd like. So, okay, I want to start out with, what did you rate this book?
I gave it 5 stars.
5 stars? Okay, same here. Okay, so this, if you don't know already, this is the second book in the series. I believe, is it a duology or is it going to be a series?
No, I think, well, actually, I don't know, but I was gonna comment on this where because it is a second set of characters that are different from the first book in the series, which is Bride. You know how a lot of people say oh, you can read it as a standalone. I don't think that you can read this one as a standalone. I feel like you need to read Bride in order to understand what's going on with Mate.
Oh, 100%. Because there's some stuff that happens towards the end of Bride that is literally the setting of this book.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you've read that. If you're here, I can't really help you if you haven't. But basically, I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna give us the synopsis that's on the back of the book. This is by Ali Hazelwood, the Queen. We love her. So I'll start out. Serena Paris is orphaned, packless, and one of a kind, coming forward as the first human-were hybrid was supposed to heal a centuries-long rift between species. Instead, it made her a target, prey to the ruthless political machinations between wares, vampires, and humans. With her enemies closing in on her, she has only one option left, if he'll have her. As alpha of the Northwest Pack, Cohen Alexander commands obedience. His authority is so absolute, only a fool would threaten his mate. It doesn't matter if Serena doesn't reciprocate his feelings. Nothing will stop him from keeping her safe. But power-hungry vampires and wares are not the only threats chasing Serena. Sooner or later, her past is bound to catch up with her, and Cohen might be the only thing standing between her and total annihilation. Look, this book, honestly, is so good. I mean, it is like an onion. Insert Shrek talking about onions meme here. There are so many layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different things going on in the story that you're just you're not bored. But it is a slow start. I'm not gonna lie. I was.
Yeah. So I did post a review or let's yap about this book when I finished it because I couldn't wait for this episode and I did get yelled at by Lexi.
Yeah, she did.
But I will say that this is probably the most plot heavy Ali Hazelwood book, even more so than Bride, because Bride obviously was very plot heavy. But I feel like this one was even more plot heavy, and I found myself having to go back to Bride to reference things that were talked about in Mate, and that's why I think you really need to read Bride, and if you can binge them one after the other, because I read Bride when it came out, so by the time I read Mate, I was like, I don't remember what happened.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
yeah.
I wish I would have gone back to reread it. I didn't think I would need to,
hmm
but I really wish I had. Did you like Bride or Mate better?
Oh no, I 100% liked Mate better. And even though Mate, I was texting you while I was reading this and I was like, did you start it yet? Because I needed to have some reassurance about the fact that it was such a slow start that I was like,
Yeah.
what am I in for here? Because Lexi, as you know, is a speed reader. So I wanted to know are you ahead of me? Is when does it get better? Or when am I gonna feel like things are happening? Because again, I feel like the first third of the book is very much plot setting and you uncover a lot, like Lexi said, secrets come out in the first third of the book, and then the like romance between the two characters really picks up like after all of that happens, which
And there's like a big reason why there isn't a lot of romance, and we can't talk about that yet. But oh my god, it was so frustrating. So yeah, I personally like this one better. Um,
which is a
I,
shock because Bride is like was like one of your favorite books. Like I remember
yes,
even when I went to go see Miss Ali Hazelwood last year, I actually got a copy of Bride signed for Miss Lexi. So
I know, and it's just like proudly on my shelf, and it's actually the book that got me into like Omega Verse. Like even though that's not an Omega Verse book, it's like it was like the
it's a
starting
naughty
point.
book. Yes.
Naughty. I was so shocked. So one of the first things that like crossed my mind when I was reading this book, I was like, this is giving Hoa Hoa vibes.
Yes,
Hoa Hoa
yes,
Hoa.
100%. If you and you know what, Ali Hazelwood is a big fan of Twilight. I
Is
think
she
she's like
really?
talked about this. I'm pretty sure that she's talked about it on her socials back when she was like the owner of her socials. Um, and you can tell that she is a Twilight loving girly with this book, and I love it. I was eating it up. I mean, I like honestly, the banter between Serena and Cohen was what made
So
me
good.
like keep going. And like, yes, it was very plot heavy, but like their banter throughout the whole book was so like immaculate. And like this man would just say like the most romantic things without meaning to. And again, like I feel like it follows the Ali Hazelwood book formula or like for her MMCs, like they're very much like stoic and love the FMC without really showing it, and she doesn't know. You know, she's just like, "Oh, I don't know what he did or whatever." I feel like it follows that formula, but I feel like this one she just like turned it up and it was just that was the reason why I just loved it so much more than Bride.
Oh, I agree. And just like the inner monologues, like or like like when they're thinking in their head, were so good. I was like cackling on like several moments. I was like, oh, you person. Like it was just so funny. I actually highlighted like a
Yes.
lot of quotes.
The
So,
back and forth between them was so good.
oh yeah. And just like I really liked how the sole focus of the book wasn't the relationship too. Like it was
hmm
about her friendship with, you know,
With Misery.
yeah, Misery. I don't know. I always want to call her Miranda, and it makes no sense, but that's what I think of her as. But yeah, like the girl friendship and like just that, and then like the struggle from like running from your past, but also wanting to know about it. I actually have seen a lot that this book resonates with people who come from that are adopted in life, and they're saying like,
Mm.
this made them feel like seen, this made them feel heard, and I thought that was like a really cool like take on the book because there's a struggle when you're adopted.
Yeah,
Do you let go of your past? Do you try to find it? Do you want to find it? Like it's very hard on people.
I
um
agree.
yeah, I truly, I just think the writing is so good. The dialogue, the monologues, the backdrop. Like, I mean, Allie just has a way of introducing a lot of information without it being too heavy. And I think that's
hmm
really important on a book that is what was it, like less than 500 pages?
Yeah, I agree. This book could have easily been like 700 pages,
Oh,
with the type of storyline that it had. Um, and it wasn't. It is 445.
yeah. So, I mean, but you don't feel like you're really missing anything. But unfortunately, I do have one gripe with the book that I didn't love. And I have to be careful how I say it because I don't want to spoil anything. But some of the timeline stuff and a potential larger age gap made me feel weird in part of it.
Oh, yeah. So, mm,
I didn't love that.
you're just now reminding me of that. But yes, Cohen is a lot older than Serena, and like Lexi said, you uncover a lot of things, in this book. And I mean, I guess I can see how like that could make you feel icky. I was vibing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like lightly brushed on. And I feel like
hmm
it's kind of like like in
Well,
Twilight. Like,
you also have to
Prince.
remember throughout this book, he like kept telling Serena, and I feel like it was also not only a reminder to Serena, but a reminder to the readers. he kept saying, we are not human. Like the werewolves kept on saying to Serena, we are not human. We are not human. So like their customs and everything is a lot different. And I mean, even with like vampires and stuff too, like if you're a Twilight loving person, um, those age gaps are wild.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I mean, truthfully, the age gap isn't like horrendous or anything. It's just I didn't like how the first
Mm,
meeting truly. That's what made me feel
yeah.
weird about it. But then again, going back to Twilight with Jacob imprinting, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, whatever. Okay, so anyways, no more spoilers because I want to be careful about what we're saying. In general, I truly love this book. I would recommend it to literally anybody, especially if you're not in the Omegaverse world already. I think you would really enjoy it, and it's a good dip your toes in and then splash in, if you know what I mean. So, do you have anything else you want to add before we get into the spoilers?
So yeah, I was also gonna say if you read this book and you liked the spicy aspects of it, I definitely recommend you looking into Omegaverse books. Most of them are wide shoes, unfortunately, if you're not like Lexi, or if you're like Lexi and you don't really enjoy the wide shoes, then you'll be a little bit hard pressed to find a single like FMC and MMC like story, but this is a good one, and I feel like the fact that Serena was so clueless about that part really helped like the reader as well. And if you liked that, then I definitely recommend some Omegaverse. And if you want some recommendations and don't mind why I choose, I will let you know.
And if you want recommendations without the wide shoes, I will let you know, because that's what we do
Yes.
here. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to get into spoiler territory. So feel free to stick around if you don't mind spoilers, or if you don't plan on reading the book. I mean, hopefully we change your mind. But if you've made it this far and you are going to read the book, drop it in the comments because we want to hear about it and we want to hear about your review later. But okay, so in 3, 2, 1, spoilers. Oh my god, the cult. That is like, okay, no,
Yes.
wait, not even the cult, the celibacy pack. I want to start with that.
Okay. Let's hold on. My tea is ready. Let's spill it. Talk to me about this celibacy thing.
Me with my Dr. Pepper. What the fuck? But like, okay, so I get the reasoning behind why the like overseers of the pack or like the board is like, oh, you can't, because it was so sad what happened to Cohen's parents. And if you stuck
Yeah.
around and you didn't read the book, Cohen's mother, who led the pack, sacrificed herself or got herself killed trying to save his father that the
Mm-hmm.
enemies were using against her. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it led to the pack being hurt severely because they lost their leader. And so that in turn made them reinstate the celibacy pack, where if you were a pack alpha, you cannot have a love life, like you at all.
You can have a mate, but you can't partake in like the physical aspects of having a relationship or having a mate. So this man has been celibate his whole life, essentially. And then enter Serena. And that poor thing. Poor Cohen. And that's
I
also
know.
why like this was such a slow burn because he was fighting against it as much as he possibly could. And Serena was like Serena didn't know for most of the book, and then she found out, and then even more so, she's like, "Well, I cannot have you decide between like me or your pack. Like that is not something I want to do." Which is another reason why I really like resonated with her more as a character than Misery, I feel. Just like the spot that Serena was in compared to Misery, I feel like even though Misery was like used as a pawn in Bride, she basically had little power over the situation. And I feel like the power that she did have was to not basically go against her instincts and like sleep with Cohen. You know what I mean? Like it was the one thing that she could really
Yeah.
control.
It was like, gosh, they were both so gracious. I wanted to smack them. Really and truly. I was like, come on, be selfish just like a little bit. But they like refuse. And then,
But the
so like,
chemistry between them was so good.
it was. And it was just like, God, I actually got to the point where like, I think like they touched hands. Or no, they had a kiss. And my husband heard me scream from the bedroom because I was so wound up at that point. I was like, holy shit. And nothing happened after that for like a while. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being edged this entire book, but it was
It was
okay.
the most edging that we've gotten from an Ali Hazelwood book.
There's another book by her that there's a lot of edging in it too, but I don't think you've read it. It's the Bound one.
You know what? I have that. I have that on my Audible and I haven't read it. Damn.
It's really good. I
Well,
actually really liked it.
that
But
I've read so
anyways,
far.
that I've read so far. So we also find out that something happened to where her entire family is like slaughtered, and then she loses her memories, and then like, was it like 5 years later she's like conscious again, and that's where her story starts with Misery.
Yep.
What the hell?
Yep. So she's basically taken from wherever she was as a child, and put into basically like foster care, but she ends up being basically Misery's human companion to be, Misery's little friend while Misery's living in the human world.
Misery and company, if you will.
Yes. And I have to talk about the fact that I really love the relationship between them. And I know we haven't gotten to this yet, but I do want to say that at the end of this book, they have a heart to heart, and it was like one of my favorite like scenes to read between them, because both of them are very sarcastic and they both mask like how they're truly feeling very, very well. But obviously in this particular book, like obviously we see a lot more of how Serena feels, and I just think like it just like touched my little heart because they were both like, I want to be a good friend to you, but I also like don't know how, because basically both of them were like, you're just so much better at doing this life thing than I am. And also Serena was kind of feeling left behind by Misery, finding her mate and, living life with him and being a stepmommy, if you will. But Misery, when they had that heart to heart, she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I need you to be there for me. And I just found it so touching because, again, Misery is so dry and sarcastic and she likes to mask a lot of things. But when they both opened up to each other, I was like, I love you guys so much.
The girlhood in this book, like the whole series, is really unmatched. I really enjoyed it. I love that, it didn't stop after they found the loves of their lives. And I think that's something with a lot of women in real life struggle with, technically, because, the center point of your universe is like the love of your life, but you have to have girlhood, I feel like, because there's just another aspect of you that your husband can't touch, or, your wife, your boyfriend, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's just how it is.
It was very relatable. Yeah.
Very. Speaking of relatable, I found this subject being touched on in the book was awesome. The absolute inadequacy of women's healthcare when done by men.
Oh.
We spent most of the book thinking that she's dying, right? Because she's being told by all these male doctors.
Well, she thought she was dying. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the male doctors agreed. They were like, oh, yeah, you're dying because you have this, which is very common in werewolves, and we don't know how to help you. And then she goes and sees a female doctor, and she's like, oh, bitch, you're just horny.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because I know that we still need to talk about the fact that she comes from a family of a cult. There was some weirdness between her parents and Cohen's parents, but let's talk about how she thought she was dying for the whole book, or most of the book, I should say. And then she goes sees the female doctor, and she's just like, you're just going to go into heat, into estrus, if you will. And if you don't know, and if you stuck around and you have no idea what heat is, basically, she wants to hop on a dick.
For a lot. Like, it's
for like
horrible.
A week straight.
Yes, it's like the actual like Omega thing in Omegaverse. Like, they need to like mess. It's
basically her like, primal instinct coming to fruition. Like, you know what I mean? So basically just think of like your menstrual cycle, and when you ovulate, just, with werewolves it's heightened a lot more. So
like, isn't it like with cats too, like how they're like awful to be around when they're in heat and stuff, and like ferrets die if they go into heat and they don't have sex? I found that out and I was like traumatized. I know, I wanted a ferret and now I can't have one because that would scare me. If that happened.
My god, I had no idea. But you know what? Relatable.
No, it was just like, I remember getting to that point and I was like, oh my god, like, I relate to this so hard, because every time I go see a male doctor, I'm just like groaning internally. Or if I get a male Instacart driver, I'm like, great. Like, now I'm not gonna get like half the shit on my list.
Yeah. You're gonna get one
Sorry.
carrot.
So I need to like find some of the screenshots I have from my Instacart drivers that were guys. And I'm just like, oh Jesus. Um, but anyways, yeah, I thought that was like a really cool thing that Ali put in. A background of a lot of Ali's books are the struggles that women face. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love her so much, because she
Mm-hmm.
truly writes about like the things that women go through in such an intelligent, emotionally intelligent way that like I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I feel like I'm going through. And then I highlight it, I make my husband
Mm-hmm.
read it, even though he's like a total
Mm-hmm.
feminist with me. So
Okay, so we've gotten to the point. We've avoided it long enough. Let's talk about the cult.
they're scary. It was
I
like,
feel like, I don't know, have you read a book with like depictions of a cult before?
oh yeah, and I watch all the documentaries and all that stuff, and like it's just fucking weird, man.
Yes. I feel like it was pretty accurate to like the fact that they're so delulu that like they think or like they believe their own lies was pretty spot on.
Yes.
So yeah. So if you stuck around, you know that in this book we learned that Serena's father was basically a cult leader.
Mm-hmm.
And after he was killed and a lot of the cult was killed, um, Cohen's pack believed that they were eradicated, but they were not because his sister basically took over when he died. And his sister, Serena's aunt, still the leader of the cult, still making moves behind the scenes and fucking shit up for Serena. So, yeah.
And it's like you don't even find out till towards the end of the book that that's actually what's been going on, and that was like freaky to me. Like that scene where like one of the cult prodigy people like came and talked to her and then
They
threw
come
himself
to
off a
find
cliff.
her. Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Yeah,
holy
because
shit.
they told him like if you can't get her to us because all basically they've been wanting to just talk to her. They just wanted to talk. That's all they wanted to do. So they sent a boy to go and find her, and he basically found her, talked to her, tried to convince her to like follow him back to the cult mommy, and she's like fuck no. And he was like all right, well I'm just going to go now and proceeds to exit off a cliff. Because they told him if you don't bring her back, don't bother coming back.
Yeah, it was like a really shocking scene. And then like so her parents killed Cohen's parents using that whole trick. And then Cohen took over the pack at the age of 15 and avenged them and tried to eradicate the cult, and he killed her parents. And he is actually the man in the first scene or the prologue that takes her as a baby and transports her. And that's the part that I felt like kind of weird-ish about, because like, you knew her as a baby and now you guys are a couple kind of thing. But I mean, like, they didn't see each other for like, what was it, like 3 decades almost? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he had known her for, since she was, what, like a baby when he found her. And when he turned her over to like the authorities, and he thought that like they were going to take care of her, but they found out she was a hybrid. So again, that's like a big thing in this. Serena is a hybrid. She's half human, half were. And she doesn't really know much about her like were roots essentially. So she finds all of this out like towards the last half of the book. Um, and yeah, Cohen was the one that basically killed her parents, and basically put her in the foster care system, and that's how she ended up with Misery.
yeah, and there's like a lot of struggle between them to like forgive each other for actions. Like he obviously is having to like reconcile with the fact that her father is one of the reasons why like his pack was in a lot of danger. He lost his parents. He's struggling through life with all this stuff. And then she's having to reconcile with the fact that hey, he killed a lot of people, and he doesn't back down from it. You know what I mean? He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll never do it again." He's like, if they stand in my way, I will kill them because I will choose my pack and the people I love over anything. And I'm sorry if that hurts you. And I was like, oof.
Yeah, he is 10 toes down for his pack, but he's also 10 toes down for Serena. So, like, when he
Mm-hmm.
realizes that, he's in love with her, um, and when he helps her through her heat, he basically tells her, like, I would do everything that I've done all over again because it brought me to you. and you are basically, he tells her, like, if I were to like write down like everything I wanted in a mate, you are it. And so he's like, I would do it all over again to get to you, which I'm just like, all right,
Yes.
like the bar is in hell, guys. Like,
I know. And it's just like, there's a lot of Easter eggs throughout the book too that indicate like that this is like a heat cycle, that this is like, she's like, oh, I love his clothes, I love his bed, and I feel so like wearing his, you know what I mean? So, and then this cult thing, and then I thought it was really sweet that well, first of all, you mentioned him helping her through her heat. So since you brought up the fact that he helped her through the heat, I really like that the female doctor of the pack helped them get a secret location for that. I just thought that was like really sweet, and a sacrifice that the pack made, not knowing if he would eventually leave them for her, and that was like a big fear. But
yeah.
they loved her and they loved him so much that they helped them do it, do it, do it.
I thought it was so funny because again, they keep on telling her like, we're not human. We don't feel like embarrassed about these things, and they literally told her like, nobody here is going to say a word about what's going to happen, all right? And she was like, what do you mean? What's going to happen? Like, what are you talking about? And she's like, take this. This is birth control, take it after. And she's like, after what? Serena was just like, what do you mean? Like that
What do
Jennifer
you
Lawrence thing, like,
mean?
but what do you mean? And they're like, no one's gonna say a word. Like, we'll see you in 3 to 5 business days. Bye, guys. And Serena's like, what?
Yeah, and it was just like, you just get to that point, you're like, finally.
Oh my God,
So,
it was so good too. And I don't know, listen, I must have blacked out because at the end of it, was it like 4 straight chapters of her through heat? Maybe. You know what? I liked it.
I think so. Yeah, and I mean, like, then nothing really happened like that for the rest of the book. Like, there's a little bits and pieces here and there, but nothing really after that. So if you don't want to read this book because you don't want to just read about werewolves fucking, like, it's like a very small portion of the book in comparison to
Yeah.
the rest of the plot, um, which is also kind of different from some of the Ali's books. Sometimes it's sprinkled way more throughout the book, but this one was
Mm-hmm.
centered on one part. He does offer to leave his pack for her at a certain point because he's like, I am compromised. Like, I do love you and I do want to choose you. And she's like, no, you can't. I won't let you.
Yes. He does sit her down like before basically the climax of this whole book. And he lets her know, like, in not so many words, he basically tells her very subtly, like, I would leave my pack for you if that's what you truly wanted. And I think like one of the quotes that I saved was basically like, I don't want to paraphrase it because it's so good. Oh, you told me that you love me, Serena. He says simply, his eyes are earnest, liquid, so profoundly good. And while I'm willing to resign myself to an existence without the person I love, I refuse to condemn you to it. So good.
It was really good. And then in the end of the book, because when they stage like a coup against the cult and they do eventually like take them down, he lets Serena put herself as bait. And that's when the board of the pack is like, you know what? You were willing to do that. It's obvious that you can split your passions
Yeah.
and still successfully like lead the pack. And I thought that was really cool. I really liked that ending because it wasn't like there didn't have to be a choice.
Yeah. I feel like it could have only gone like one of two ways. Either the like pack board or like the people who were in charge of, you know, um those rules essentially could have just agreed with the fact that like Cohen can stay level-headed and calm while having a mate. Um, or they're like, bye, you're fired. And he was
Yeah.
gonna be okay with either one. Like he was ready and willing to take whatever choice they decided, as long as he got his mate. So
But I was glad that it wasn't made out to be too easy. Like, I love a happy ending, but I don't like a super unrealistic, like, everything is rainbow and butterflies in the end, and none of this stuff actually mattered. I like that it was touched on, they worked through it, and it worked out,
hmm
but there were still
hmm
some consequences. There were still some things that happened. So I thought that was really cool. I really liked it.
yeah,
It's very
I
adult, very
agree.
demure.
Um, it was overall good book, 5 stars, 10 out of 10 recommend. I mean, if you love Ali Hazelwood, if you liked Bride, I feel like you'll love Mate. Or you'll still like Bride better. I feel like it's one or the other, but for me it's definitely Mate. So
which is funny because we were very unsure about this book. Do you have
We
any
were.
quotes that you want to share before we get off?
All right. Okay. So one of my favorite scenes with Cohen was when he basically tells his pack to fuck off. Um, Since you're so sure that everyone here despises her, including me, let this be known. Fuck with my mate, I'm going to kill you so slowly, draw it out so long, tectonic plates will move and create whole new mountain ranges. And then the rest of your family, and when the rest of your family comes to avenge you, I'll do the same to them. And if your friends come, I'm not going to fucking stop. Not even if all that's left is the pack is me and her. I will paint this entire territory green before I let anyone in the pack spill a single drop of red. Okay?
Because, so if you didn't know, like, werewolf blood is green, but human blood is red, and hers was red.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that was
And
really
hers was red.
hot.
Yes. It was so good when they basically told him to fuck off because people were giving her, well, one werewolf was giving her a hard time. Again, 10 toes down for his mate.
So I have a couple. So the first one I highlighted that I thought was so funny was his leadership philosophy seems to be, if inconvenient, why not dead? Love that. 5 stars. I thought it was hilarious. And that is his whole attitude. Let's see. My entire life is made of fucking lines, and you're blowing past all of them. Lady, fuck you and your tea. That was when she's meeting the cult leader.
Oh, God, yep.
And then, this one's my favorite one. He would die for her, and he would kill for her. More importantly, he will live for her. She'll be the purpose driving every second of his everyday. Swoon. Like, I thought that was, like, so cute. I was like, yes.
So good.
The yearning. I'm a yearning whore. Like, I love it. If there's no yearning, there's no earning. Literally.
True. This book was a lot of yearning on his part. I loved it so much. Well, her part too. But she didn't even know. For example, she would always wear his shirts, but she didn't know why. It's because of his scent. Because she's his mate.
God, she drove me up a fucking wall sometimes. I was like, you idiot. 2 idiots falling in love. And they were both being so
2
annoying
idiots
about
falling
it.
in love. Yep.
Okay. Well, we are like almost at the 40-minute mark. So if you guys have made it this long through our very chaotic session, thank you. If you haven't read it and you're going to read it because of this episode, let us know. If you read it, loved it, let us know. If you read it, hated it, fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. Now we have to find something to fill the hole in the heart. And it's going to be hard.
True. It'll be okay.
Sure. All right, guys. Well, that concludes this episode. We have some exciting episodes coming out. You will notice we will be a little bit slower or more spaced out in posting from January to mid-March because I'm in the process of moving. My husband's getting out of the military, and Jasmine's now sick. So hang with us.
Hopefully I'll be better by next week.
Yes, and trust me, we do have a lot of exciting things to come. Just bear with us for these next month and a half because we already made it through January. So yeah. All right, bookish besties, until next time, I'm Lexi.
I'm Jazzy.
And this was our episode on Mate. Bye.
Bye.